Greetings, fellow scribes! Welcome back to the archive. This video is part of my series on the individual tribes of Werewolf the Apocalypse. I will be going into each tribe covering the same basic details, their history and mythology, their biases, strengths, weaknesses, and a bit of information about their camps, their sub-organizations within the tribes. Now, this is going to be a bit of a boilerplate for all of these, so I don't have to redo a video every single one. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we talk about this tribe. The greatest of the Garou, those anointed by Luna herself to lead. The alphas of alphas. No, one cannot talk about the Garou tribes without talking about the Silver Fangs. Pride and hubris made manifest. The tribe that is in charge because they say they should be in charge. And not everyone agrees with this, of course. The Mad Kings of the Garou. For sanity and them have a loose relationship, in the fact that their tribal weakness is that they all have a derangement. Of course, starting to talk about them, we must start with where they believe that they came from. And their story is that when humans were born, Gaia saw them, saw their relationship with the Weaver, their pity that the Weaver took on them, because they did not have claws, they did not have shells. They were weak animals because they were born incomplete and hasty, because Gaia dreamt them into existence, but did not have time to fashion them, to finish them, before they rushed themselves into the world. And so Gaia asked all the creatures of the earth to teach them. And every one of them had an excuse until it came to Wolf. And the first wolf went and found humans, and Wolf's children went and tried to teach them. But they were frightened, because wolves are predators. Wolves eat humans. At least that's what the humans would believe. And so Luna changed them to be able to walk in the form of man. And thus they interacted with humans. They taught them the ways of the hunt. They taught them how to pray for the animals they killed and to ask permission for the hunt. And they taught them all of this. They taught them how to stalk prey, how to find shelter. And all of this they taught them. And they found that they could not change back to wolves. And many were saddened by this, and wanted to be able to return back to what they were. Because by teaching humans this, they had unbalanced the triad. They had given the Weaver much more strength than she should have had. And so, to allow them to be able to turn back, Luna gave them a chest. Luna asked them to slay humans, to hunt the humans. But not just any of the humans. To hunt the leaders, the ones that they had lain with, but and also taught. And of these 13 wolves, 12 of them completed the test. The 13th one, though, was not able to bring herself to slay her husband. And so instead of spearing him, she threw the spear away. And that failed the test from Luna. But since most of them passed, they were blessed with the ability to pick one form to be in the rest of their days. And then were gifted with the Krynos war form. And it could be implied that rage came with it. And from this, some chose to go back as wolves. Some, seeing the one of their number who chose her husband and human life over the life of wolves, chose to remain human. And from there, these survivors were, because they had mostly passed Luna's test, their pelts were made white to show Luna had blessed them with the authority to lead. And that is how the Silver Fangs came to be the tribe in charge of everyone. At least according to them. And the Silver Fangs do very much have this idea that I am a Silver Fang. It is my burden to lead. They're like that. Of course, they had other issues. They were restricted that their kings could only lead for 7 years. And so, they would lead for 7 years, then a challenger would come, and, someone would eventually beat them, and then another king, that king would last for 7 years, and then the next, and then the next. And this went on for a while, until a great Silver Fang king was going to lead his sept into battle against a great evil. And they had been fighting this particular entity for a long time. Hitting bits of it here, fighting it back, driving it back. But his 7 years were coming to an end. And he kept leading, because he had to win this fight. And no one would challenge him, because he was such a great leader. And everyone who would have been able to have beaten him in a challenge knew that if he was no longer leading, they would lose. So the day before the final battle against this, a spirit from Luna came down and told him, "Your 7 years are up. You must relinquish your leadership." And he couldn't. Again, no one would challenge him. But gathered Garou around him would not go with him. And so he found a falcon in the air, a falcon spirit, and asked it why it ruled the skies every day, forever, not having to give up every 7 years. And Falcon responded that it was because it obeyed Helios, who's the eternal sun, eternal light, yada yada. And he bargained with Falcon itself, the totem spirit of the spirit that would become the totem spirit of the Silver Fangs, to turn away from loyalty to Luna to loyalty to Helios. And that is how, one, Falcon became their totem, and two, they ended the having a king to only be able to remain 7 years. Of course, Luna was angry at them. So they had to have one group of them over time try to find ways to make amends for their betrayal, so to speak, of Luna. And it's kind of implied that the madness that affects the Silver Fangs is actually the result of this moment of betrayal. Because it is said that any Silver Fang king who rules for more than 7 years goes truly mad. Well, it's a gradual process, but eventually they go completely insane. But there's always hope that that's going to get fixed too. That somehow there will be a Silver Fang who will be able to one day make true amends to Luna and get this curse, this unspoken, except in very certain circles, curse lifted from them. Now, the Silver Fangs are divided not into camps, really. And this is the thing, the Silver Fangs do not have camps, officially. Because they feel that they must present a united face to the tribes as a whole. And by having themselves fragmented among various viewpoints, etc., that would just sow division in them. And so they have houses. Each of these houses is over a geographic area, and they're more like sub-tribes. You've got the ones in Russia, Scotland, and England, the U.S., Europe, America, all over the world. And each of these houses are, well, they're just that. They're regional variations of the Silver Fangs based on where they're from. And then they have the two celestial lodges. The Lodge of the Sun, which focuses on history and the practicality of governance. And the Lodge of the Moon, which focuses on spirits, the more mystical side of the Garou life. And, pretty much every Silver Fang belongs to one of these two. And of course, then you've got they're not camps in the sense of what other tribes have, because other tribe camps actually teach unique gifts and rituals and rites and all that unique to the camp. They're more two unique philosophies that are needed to balance each other out. You have the renewalists, who hold that the tribe needs to not stay stagnant. That, yes, tradition is all well and good, but you need to break from it. You need to stir the pot and stir things up a bit. Look for new stuff. Hey, maybe breed with someone who's not from the Silver Fang breeding program. Well, yeah, wow, what an idea. Okay. And then you have the royalists, the ones who are tradition is tradition, tradition must always be upheld type philosophy. And the two balance each other out. They keep the tribe from becoming too stagnant, in the case of the renewalists, and from becoming too forgetful of its past, in the case of the royalists. And both are very much needed for the Silver Fangs. And from there, we come into the sort of more distasteful part of dealing with the Silver Fangs. The Silver Fangs, mechanically, are required to take a minimum of 3 dots of pure breed. And this is because, culturally, the Silver Fangs have a selective breeding program in place. This means that, yes, they pick who their kinfolk marry. Their kinfolk marry people who they believe have the greatest chance to breed true, have the best genetic line, etc., etc., etc. And, yeah, they do that with... Now, you can kind of see this among lupus kinfolk. Hey, keeping some genetic diversity in there where necessary, making the arrangements, all that. But they do this with their human kinfolk as well. Their human kinfolk don't really get a say. By being a Silver Fang, these kinfolk have a duty to breed with who they're told to breed with. Yeah. And then you have the Silver Fang Metis. The Silver Fangs used to be one of the tribes that would kill both parents and the child. Now it mostly depends on the sept, but the more traditionalists will just kill both parents. And those are also kind of the more merciful ones. Because, some will just kill the child. But a Metis that is born among the Silver Fangs is never going to hold any position of authority. No Silver Fang will ever allow them to hold any meaningful authority. They don't execute them at birth as much anymore, but they still treat them like trash. They still judge them and hold them accountable for their parents' crime. And there is a sort of belief that the best thing that metas are good for is cannon fodder, is shock troops to go out and die so that those that can still breed are able to do so. They keep them away from the rest of the tribe as much as they can, and the Silver Fangs, just in general, treat their metas horribly. And, this is really all I can say about the Silver Fangs. They are proud to the point of hubris. They refuse to acknowledge that other tribes are equally capable of leading, simply because those other tribes are not Silver Fangs. So with that, I will end this video. If you liked this video, please click like and subscribe down below. I will see you with the next in my series of videos on the tribes as I discuss the Stargazers. So until then, I just want you all to have fun and keep gaming.